God.
I'm going to get my boots a little dirty.
I got one!
We found the plane. Can we go home now?
Hello everybody, welcome back to Screenstars. I'm here today to bring you my review for the 2022 horror action film Warhunt, a film that is co-written and directed by Mauro Borelli, and it stars Jackson Rathbone, Robert Nepper and Mickey Rourke. Now the film is set in the Second World War, and there is a plane that is shot down behind enemy lines that is carrying sensitive material. Mickey Rourke plays a major in the American army, and he sends a group of soldiers behind enemy lines to search for survivors and to basically pick up this sensitive material. This squad of soldiers end up behind enemy lines, and what they find there is something a little bit strange. They seem to be trapped in these woods and hunted by something sinister. What are my thoughts on Warhunt? Well, in actual fact, I mean, I wasn't expecting an awful lot from this film, but I was pleasantly surprised by it. It's a fairly solid action horror film, and with a good theme, like set in the Second World War. I think a good war horror film is generally something we all enjoy watching. I think Overlord was pretty good when that came out a couple of years ago. There was that one that came out, was that last year, year before, with them? It was like a ghost story type thing with these soldiers in the Second World War that was pretty good, and I forget the name of it now. So this actually is a pretty solid outing that's fairly entertaining and engaging throughout. And in actual fact, what is going on here is essentially these soldiers are being hunted by like a coven of witches, which is quite a unique twist. Now, the one thing that sticks out like a sore thumb when you watch this film is it's trying at times desperately to be Predator. The comparisons are impossible to ignore. There's a scene with like soldiers like strung upside down that they cut down. There's even a piece of dialogue by Robert Nepper, I think it is, who's like the sergeant giving them orders. And he says, set a defensive perimeter, mine it with everything we've got. It's pretty much line for line what Arnie said in Predator. And to cap it off, there's even a scene when they've put these defences up where something sets off all the defences and the traps and attacks one of the men, and he fights it and kills it. And it's a pig, just like Predator. I just was baffled by this film trying to compare itself to Predator. Yes, there are loose similar themes in the sense of these soldiers are being hunted, but they're not being hunted by an alien. They're being hunted by a coven of witches. And it just seemed like the comparison tonally just did not fit to me. It was very, very odd. Another thing that was a little bit off for me was the Mickey Rourke character. Now, I don't get me wrong, I like Mickey Rourke. I think he's a great, great actor. It just seemed like his character addition was like an afterthought. Seemed like his character was forced into the film almost because, you know, hey guys, we've got Mickey Rourke. How are we going to fit him into this film? So that character felt forced for me, and I don't really necessarily think the film needed it. Now, while he's not necessarily what you describe as a cameo here, for a large part of the runtime of this film, he's like at the Allied base, like giving orders from afar. And then the last 10 minutes of the film is actually, you know, boots on the ground type of thing. But I mean, it didn't spoil the film or anything, his character and his appearance. It just felt certainly forced to me. But I think what really worked here was the interactions between the soldiers as they start losing men, the paranoia kicking in and the fear. And some of the kills are pretty brutal in regards lots of blood and gore and that type of thing. And I thought the effect as well for the witches, generally for the most part, was very, very effective and what you would expect a haggarded witch to look like. And it works quite well for this film. And they make them very, very sinister and very, very threatening, which again really, really works for the film. There's some good action scenes in it, you know, lots of shooting, all this kind of stuff, but it's not like these allies have any real interactions with much in the way of the German army or anything. There's a couple of scenes, but nothing major. And again, they felt like they were a little bit forced into the film. The major part of the runtime of this film is these soldiers kind of lost in these woods, slowly being hunted by these witches that are hunting them for their blood because it will make them immortal, all that kind of good stuff. Do you know what I mean? And it's, taken off they're taken out with alarming regularity and alarming ease, I suppose, to say that the highly trained soldiers, and it did at times feel like they weren't being particularly smart about the situation they were in, and they could have made better decisions. But some of them, the mind started getting corrupted and all this kind of stuff. So it felt, pretty grounded, pretty realistic. It felt authentic in regards to the costumes, the weapons, the locations, the vehicles and everything like that. Pretty decent effects at the beginning for the plane and the crash and all that kind of stuff. While this is a low-budget film, it's not a really low-budget film. It's obviously got some decent budget associated to it. And the film, I find, pretty much used the budget as best it could. Everything felt like it was on screen to me. So what we've got here is actually a bit of a pleasant surprise. Now, it is in no way going to be on a Film of the Year list for anybody. But all I really look for, certainly in films like this, is does it keep me entertained? Does it keep me engaged? Are the performances decent? And is the direction pretty good? And do I feel immersed and engaged in the whole thing? And I have to say yes to all those things. I was definitely involved and immersed in this film, and I thought it was quite effective. It's not what you would call scary or anything. It's heavy on the action, light on the horror, but there are certainly some, moments in the film that put it in the horror category. So I'm going to give this one a 6 out of 10. Definitely worth checking out if you like a good horror war film. So thank you very much for watching. I will of course be back with plenty more reviews and content on the channel very, very soon.